For me, the real journey started here, at the Pilgrim office in the beautiful town of Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in the French Pyrenees. That's me, Kate. After collecting my Pilgrim passport with its first stamp and a scallop shell to go on the outside of my backpack, I explored the ancient town with my family. In the year I turned 50, it was a birthday present I gave myself. After years of working and bringing up children, I needed a personal challenge. I took some leave from my job and set myself the goal of walking 800 kilometres, around 500 miles, along the ancient pilgrimage route of the Camino Frances to Santiago de Compostela in northwest Spain. And I would be doing most of it alone. For centuries, pilgrims have made this quest, although in years gone by they usually set off from their own front doors. Despite using modern means of transport to get to the start, it felt as though I was about to cross the boundaries of time and join in the adventure with those who had gone before me over centuries. After an early breakfast, I left the auberge with my family, who would be joining me for the first few days.
Can't believe it.
It was hard to believe that after a year of planning, that it was actually happening. The thought of doing this alone was scary but also exciting. I didn't know if my body would take me that far, although there was no real reason why it wouldn't. It's just that I had never challenged it in that way before. A pilgrimage is for the body, mind and spirit. How would I fare mentally and spiritually? I didn't know, but I did know that I was meant to be here.
But it's quite hard work walking out of Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port and on our way up to Orisson at the moment, so soon I think we'll approach the fork in the road and head off up the even steeper track. But it is so beautiful, it's really beautiful. I've got a really squiffy hat, but I think that's just the way it's going to be. There's a split in the road, so we don't want to go that way. We want to go up over here.
I would like to tell the pre-Camino Kate that I would rarely feel alone. Along with this strange feeling of connecting with the millions who had already trodden this path, I would find that on the Camino, it's easy to connect, share, and just be me with other pilgrims.
Amazing views.
There's a freedom on the trail in not having to be someone that you're not. I felt safe and happy in my own skin.
So we just had lunch at the Orisson auberge. We are now walking up to Borda, and I think we're almost there. It's not very far past Orisson. The good news is, although it's been incredibly misty all morning, the mist has actually been rolling in through the windows of Orisson. I think it is starting to clear and the sun is starting to burn it off. So I'm really hoping that we are going to get some good views at some point. During this climate, it seems only fair really that we get some views for the hard work that we put in. So let's hope so.
The clouds did clear later in the afternoon and we retreated to some stunning views at Borda. Here we would be orientated to Camino life by the Hospitalero Lauren, a pilgrim himself, and we would meet other pilgrims from around the world over a shared meal with stunning views. After waking up to an incredible mountain sunrise, it was time to continue on the Napoleon route over the Pyrenees into Spain.
Just walking out from the auberge and back onto the way, onto the Camino route, it's been incredible, the views, because the fog is in the valleys and we can see the mountain peaks above it. The sun is actually coming up now. I'm going to feel the heat soon. Just seeing other pilgrims walking on past saying Buen Camino. It's a really nice atmosphere. My daughter and husband are well ahead of me, partly because I'm taking pictures, but partly because they are fitter than I am. But I'm just totally enjoying the thrill of actually being here, being on the Camino, and yeah, a bit awestruck really. Don't really have the words to share.
I will just let the views speak for themselves.
food truck. Woohoo!
Just after the horses was a food truck, which was a good excuse to rest.
Follow the shell, follow the arrow.
The day was definitely challenging, but the weather conditions were ideal, the scenery incredible, and the sense of achievement worth it.
Hello.
Arriving in Roncesvalles, we met my daughter who was waiting for us, and after checking into our accommodation, we had a look around. The next morning we set off early. Today would be one of the hottest days.
So we are just leaving Roncesvalles. I think we left just before 7. We decided to push on this morning while it's cool. We're now in between Borda. Borda was a lovely little town, really beautiful. Now on our way towards Espinal, so the destination for today is Zubiri. Thought today was going to be mainly downhill, but there are definitely uphills because this is tough. We found our friends.
Hello. Hi. Just in case you forget, we are from Singapore.
And what are your names?
Navina
and Phi.
Yay! Pilgrim breakfast. It's very pretty. It's getting warm now, and it's about 9 AM now. The sun is out. And really starting to feel the heat already. We've just met Harry, who we met in the first night. Anyway, give me some words of wisdom. You were telling me that although it gets easier on the way, because it feels hard now, my back's hurting.
The Camino is split into 3. There's the physical, the mental, and then the spiritual. For me, that's a bit too prescriptive. I can have these 3 experiences in a day.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the first section is very physical. It's getting us all fit enough to take us in our stride. But meanwhile, the scenery is amazing, and the history is amazing, and you'll meet some wonderful people.
It is so hot, and I have sweated so much. And just stopped to get some electrolytes and more water because I'm just saturated all over. It's got really hot, obviously, and also walking up and down hill with the pack on, it's harder than I thought it was going to be. But it's still enjoyable, I'm still having fun, so that's good. Downhill from here. There's a sign, so we'll see how far we've got to go to Zubiri. 1 hour 20. We have come out of the shaded forest and we're now in the open, and the views, they're pretty good. More than pretty good, they're really good. Onwards. Through the trees we can see Zubiri, but it's still quite a steep path to get down there. It is a welcome sight because that's where we're staying. Zubiri. Oh, cheese, it's just all welded together in a big blob. It's actually a really good melted cheese sandwich.
It's beautiful.
We cooled off in the river while waiting for our albergue to open. Casa Suzeo was our stop for the night in Zubiri. It was a lovely place to stay with a communal pilgrim dinner and incredible food. The next morning we retraced our footsteps over the Roman bridge and headed in the direction of Pamplona.
In the albergue last night, there was a couple of people that had just retired and they'd set off to do the Camino to kind of figure out what's next.
The Camino for many is a liminal space. A number of fellow pilgrims were at a transitional point in their lives, whether that was retirement, recovery from illness, or walking after the loss of a job or even a loved one.
Yesterday we were hiking through forests, and today it didn't look like we were, but what's really nice is there are bushes, trees growing either side of the path, creating this green tunnel. Welcome to the Basque Country.
The Camino is a good place to give yourself space to figure out what comes next, to focus on each step, the here and now, and in the newly adopted routine of eat, sleep, walk, repeat, slowly let the next stages of life begin to work themselves out. Instead of pushing on to Pamplona, we took an alternate route to a Donativo albergue in Zabala. It's run by volunteers and supported by a community of nuns.
We've got our bags there, so to make sure we've got a place.
It's actually really cringy to hear myself say that. As I started the Camino, I was so worried about where I would be sleeping each night and whether I would have a bed. It was one of the fears I carried. But at this beautiful albergue with its adjoining church, we were encouraged to release our fears by literally sticking them to the cross.
Good evening and welcome to the Zabala Paris Hostel.
Hotel no, de la bendición, bendice Señor la alimentación, bendice a mis amigos, bendice a mis hermanos.
It's places like Zabala along the Camino that mean this is a long distance walk like no other. Zabala was a place of love, joy and acceptance. As I left some of my anxiety behind, we set off towards the city of Pamplona.
Everyone is in Cafe Aruna. I'm just doing a quick run to Decathlon. There's a couple of bits that I would like there, so I'm going to see if I can get them while we're in town, because we're going to head out very shortly. We are now in the centre of Pamplona, but leaving. It's midday, and we have, according to Google Maps, a 4-hour hike to Uterga. And we also have to go over the Alto del Perdon, probably pronouncing it wrong, but that is where the bronze statues are on top of the hill So we also have 400 meters in height to climb, and then we come down the other side. So quite a distance to go. We've just been hanging out in a cafe with Debbie, one of our Camino friends. It was really nice. We've had different pinchos, I suppose, but churros, sandwiches. Now we have got quite a bit of hike ahead of us. Keep looking out for the shells and the arrows. The sunflowers look so sad. I've given my umbrella its first try. It's actually much easier, much nicer walking in some shade. Trying to figure out how to attach it properly to my pack. The straps that I've put on it before I set off have slipped right down, so I've just wedged it in the water bowl carrier here with an upside down small water bottle, and I'm holding on to it. Seems to be doing the trick for now. The reality is dawning on me. It's not that close hill which looked very high, but it was actually close by. It's a hill over there in the distance with lots more wind turbines on. After a steep ascent, it is a steep descent to Uterga. We are coming into Uterga now. Today we're doing a shorter stage, 20 kilometers, and we're walking to Lorca. Albanos, Puente la Reine. There are pilgrims crossing the Pilgrim Bridge. After Puente la Reine, it was pretty flat for a bit and it got quite hot. We're now starting to climb again, and I think it's a climb all the way to the village of Manaru. Getting ready for a fiesta. I just looked up and I realised that the town of the village of Zubiri was much nearer than I thought.
Today would be my husband and daughter's last day on the Camino, as they needed to return home. Before they left, we wanted to catch up with some of our friends who we had met at Borda on the first night. This meant we would be walking 29 kilometers to catch up with them in the town of Los Arcos. Passing through Irash, it would have been wrong not to stop at the blacksmith's shop, followed by, of course, the famous wine fountain. Yes, a fountain that flows with wine.
Oh, that's really strong. An ancient swimming pool. We now have a little bit of rain. Today is the first time it's actually rained on the Camino for us. It's not too bad though. It's just when it stops raining, it's too warm to wear a rain jacket, so I stop and then take it off again.
As we entered Los Arcos, it started to dawn on me that when I set out tomorrow, I would be a solo pilgrim. We had a reunion with our friends, and the next morning I waved goodbye to my family at the bus stop. Now my solo pilgrimage would begin.